Welcome back to Sam Roberts Show, and God Almighty, look who's entered the studio. My friends, one who's been here before and one who hasn't. Mick and Noelle Foley, the Foley family is here. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Sam. Great to be back.
Yeah. Well, Mick Foley and Noelle are both here. And I'll tell you that the first time I met Noelle, I don't know if it was the first time I met Noelle, but it was the first time I spent time with Noelle. It was at a wrestling show, and we were sitting very close, and I was like, I'm going to charm Noelle. And you know what I said?
What?
I want you to know something, Noelle. I know your father. And you want to know how we met? And she was like, how? And I said, he fed me steak like a baby. Like, choo-choo, here it comes. Here. Yeah.
I remember when this scenario was being laid out for me. They were like, we have this intern, and he's never eaten anything but, like, chicken nuggets. And
Right.
It sounds like Mickey.
It does, right? And I was going to force you to eat, like, a top grade A steak.
It was a good steak.
And rice. And I'll tell you what, if people YouTube it, it still holds up to this day.
It does.
It's phenomenal.
Especially because you have like Opie and Anthony and Louis Black and Bob Saget, and they're all sitting there enjoying the exact same steak.
And the fact that Louis Black was like cracking up.
Right.
He had no idea who I was. And here comes the steaky wakey. and Sam was, there was no acting involved at all. He was like literally gagging.
But that's an accomplishment. You and I as a comic team were able to crack up Louis Black.
We did very, very good that day.
And Dad, that time that I sat with Sam when he was telling me those stories, that was when Dewey
was being a little...
Dewey called me an effing loser. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit with Sam Roberts.
That's right.
In the second row.
I was remember because I was nervous about that because I go, look, like, I don't want anybody to think this is, because I don't need anybody going back to the Foley house and reporting. Like, Dewey can come down. I only have one ticket, but Dewey can come down halfway through, and you guys can switch.
No. I remember that. I remember, I don't know if you know this about... You've never heard me use the F word, even when it's fully acceptable.
Right. You choose not to.
Choose not to. And so and that's been the issue, right, between me and Dewey, is his use of it. And it's forbidden.
He likes it.
I know he likes it. He overuses it.
Overuses it.
And you can't use it like in reference to your sister being a loser.
Right.
And so I was like, no, go ahead, sit with Sam Roberts. Yeah. And so I was happy when I saw her.
So I left Dewey by himself.
Yeah. And plus you knew my smooth moves included saying, your dad feeds me steak like a baby.
I wasn't worried about that at all.
Now you and Noelle, it seems like are kind of a team. I see, you're on the convention circuit now together.
Yes.
Which has got to be refreshing for you because at least it's something different.
Well, I'm occasionally, I will not try to compete with Noelle. The only time that we will join forces for a good cause. Yeah, like we are going to be at Eternal Con, where we join forces to raise money for a group called Christmas Magic, right?
What's Christmas Magic?
Christmas Magic, unbelievable group. I've been a volunteer since 2001, and since you don't have a large child, not a lot of kids listening to this.
Unfortunately, not
yet.
Not yet.
But I'm one of Santa's, just to be safe, top ambassadors, right? And my ambassadorial role for Christmas Magic means that I'm Santa for kids on Long Island who are living in homeless shelters, transitional housing, foster homes.
The kids who probably need Santa more than anybody.
Need Santa more than anything. And Christmas Magic does an unbelievable job of helping make the magic of Christmas morning possible for kids who otherwise wouldn't have much of a Christmas morning. So Noelle and I are going to be raising some money for the kids. So this way we can join forces, and it's like, everything's a tandem, because there's no way I'm going to sit and try to compete with her.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even think of it from that element, that you're worried that she's become more of a draw than the hardcore legend.
Many a WWE Hall of Famer has felt the wrath of the Noelle Foley appearance, like at WrestleCon. Yeah. I mean, rumor had it. People are like, she doesn't even wrestle.
Right.
What's with this line, And she's
I'm
got
a friendly person.
Friendly person.
Kind of Instagram famous.
Instagram famous.
Right. That's a thing.
Effervescent personality.
That's right. That's what it is, really.
A producer tried telling me, a top producer, from a TV show, the only reason that they wanted her was because she was hot.
What?
And I was,
and he was angry.
Oh, I was angry, and I'm
really
going. Well, if the only reason you want her is because she's hot, and she's going, no, Dad, no. Then you go find another hot girl, all right? Because that's disrespectful to me.
Right.
You weren't saying that then. You're like, no, Dad, don't do that. Like, find another hot girl. Boom, Dad, you just cost me that TV show. I was like, I know.
What producer says that though to the dad? Well, why wouldn't you just pretend that it's not just because she's hot?
There's a little power tripping going on,
They do.
But I just reject that because Noelle, when she's at a convention, is competing with a lot of really attractive women who do have a lot of TV time.
Right.
And Noelle's, the fact that we're getting a show on WWE Network is largely because of the chemistry that we have together, that people find she's 22,
Right.
Still likes hanging out with the old bear.
Yeah.
Right.
When I had the chance to, just like to chill out with him.
You like hanging out with your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. 22 years old, 3 arguments in a lifetime. Total.
What were they about?
3 arguments. One at age, I believe, 8, when I suggested that maybe her body type wasn't appropriate for something she was wearing.
AKA, I was fat.
And didn't know it.
Oh, I see. I thought she was going through puberty early, but she was just a chubby kid.
I thought I was rocking those mini skirts and tight shirts, and my dad was like,
So you were doing the right thing. You were
I
like,
thought
look,
I
honey,
was.
you're a little,
Are
chubby.
you sure you want to be? I didn't even throw the chubby word in there. I was like, you sure you want to be wearing that? Maybe. I was easing into it. There were no harsh words at all. And like tears started running down her little face. I was like, you think maybe from now on you want mom to talk about these things with you? I was like, do you want dad to maybe take you someplace for a present? Do you want?
I think we probably got ice cream.
We probably got ice cream.
Was that crushing for you at 8 years old? The first argument, you're like, oh, she doesn't like me anymore.
Devastating. Devastating. Second argument was when Frank the Clown pretended to be an FBI agent and had.
Now, Frank the Clown is your boyfriend,
Yeah.
Noelle.
Yeah. It was,
A little backstory.
right.
But this is far in advance. I mean, how long have you been dating Frank for?
Over 2 years.
Yeah, so
Okay,
we
so
went
this
like
is still like
first-
10 years.
We went
First
12
started
years.
dating.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like we wrote Huey's phone number down, and then Huey started texting Frank, pretending it wasn't him. So Frank's like, I'm going to report you to the FBI. And then Huey starts crying, and then my dad comes home, and he's like,
And how old
"What's
is Huey?"
happening?" He's 13 now, but he was 11 when it happened.
That's tough when you find out the FBI is on
Yeah.
your
And my dad tried to take my phone to FaceTime Frank to yell at him. I'm like, Dad, no, Dad, stop.
And so I write, hey, Frank, this is Mr. Foley. I'm not happy at all. And Frank thinks it's, somebody else. I don't know what
He
you were
still thought
talking
it was
about.
a joke.
Oh, no.
I was livid. I was livid.
Wait,
Ooh.
is there, I'm interested, when Mick Foley gets mad, because you don't get mad that
Not
often.
too often, yeah.
Is it, do you get Cactus Jack mad?
I get, promo cutting mad.
That's what I was thinking.
Kane Dewey
because-
promo mad.
Yeah, Kane
Really?
Dewey promo mad, yeah.
So that is your real
oh, my
mad.
goodness. And here's the reason I don't drop F-bombs in the house,
Tell
right?
me.
Because now Huey has said he's only heard me curse 3 times, like not including my shows, because I dropped the 1 F-bomb a show, right? And you've been there. I got to say, you've been very supportive of my live shows.
Yeah.
And I've learned that becomes my gimmick, right? I drop the 1 F-bomb.
And everybody's
a
waiting
show,
for it.
Waiting for it.
Yeah.
If I do it correctly, standing ovation. And so I said, Huey, how many F-bombs have you heard me use? He goes, whatever number. I said, no, not including my shows. He said, 3. I said, were they effective? And he goes, oh, yeah. Like when I use one on Dewey, because he knows I don't like that F word. So when I use it back in a promo, ooh, highly effective.
I like that you call it promo, though.
Oh,
I got to cut a promo on the
Oh,
kid.
my goodness. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
always cutting promos in his head. Like, I'll be trying to talk to him, and he's just like snapping his eyes and like doing these weird hand gestures. And I'm like, Dad, pay attention.
Not
He's
like the old days.
Sorry, cutting promos.
When Colette and I think I went 10 years without actually listening to my wife because I was cutting promos in my head.
Yeah. So
The downside, the downside to today's more structured WWE environment is that people aren't thinking for themselves as much.
yes.
The upside is maybe the guys might listen to their significant.
Like they could actually leave it at work a little bit.
Maybe leave it at work.
Yeah.
It's not a 24/7 thing where you're escaping into an alternate reality. And your
And you start
eyes are
shaking
blinking and
and
fingers
blinking.
are twitching. And my wife would you're like, you're cutting promos, aren't you? I'm like, yeah.
What's your outlet for that now? Like if you're cutting promo, if Noelle's catching you cut promos now, but you don't where do you go to cut the promo? What's the outlet for it? Does it just live in your head?
That's a great question.
Well, they're not angry promos. I'm often thinking about better ways to be Santa.
You're
Santa promos?
So instead of falling into Cactus Jack, you're falling into Santa.
Yeah, like to better effectively be Santa, right?
Ho!
No,
Ho!
I'm not angry.
Ho!
No, it's no. I take that stuff seriously, right?
Yeah, I know you do.
My ideas down, and so that when a family comes in, I transport them, like they suspend disbelief. Not just the child, but the parents too, if it's done well enough.
Do you need a place for that angry outlet that you had with wrestling? Like, because now everything is so like family, happy, da da da. I mean, you remember, I remember you saying when you started doing the Sacco thing, you were worried that this would tarnish your legacy.
Yeah.
And now you've kind of left angry hardcore Mick as like this way, way distant memory. Do you need someplace to outlet your anger?
Not really, because you'd figure that I would have done that when I was doing, my stories or stand-up. But my stand-up wasn't angry at all, right? It was very
it's fun,
warm-hearted. No, not really. I don't get angry at home, do I? Because I had a lot.
Unless
to be.
Randall takes a dump on the floor.
Who's Randall?
But here's the thing.
So you could have promo on the dog, and that's the dog.
The dog,
Kane Randall.
The funny thing, Randall's been the bane of my existence, right, for 6 years, because my wife absolutely refused to train him, right? Like,
why?
Just because she thought it was cruel, the idea
train
of
him.
Train him, yeah. Oh, no, you can't put him in a crate. And I'd go, that's how you train a dog. And she go, no, read this book on training. I go, okay, here's the chapter where it talks about training the dog in a crate. She goes, no, that's cruel. Read this book. I go, here's the chapter of this book where it talks about training a dog in a crate. And he's been the bane of my existence. I took him to Martial Arts Training Academy.
Martial Arts.
Legitimate training academy.
You love that.
And,
of course.
And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that Randall set the martial arts record, indoor record, for most fines accrued in a single session. 33 $3 fines for peeing and pooping.
How do you even have that much to do?
It was just a matter of lifting the leg, marking the territory.
Right.
Every time you lift the leg, $3, and I didn't realize how much it was adding up to until it came time to pay. Like,
and we know Mick Foley
doesn't like to part.
He doesn't like opening that wallet.
Not too often.
No.
96 big ones.
Because your dog wouldn't stop going to the bathroom?
Yeah. And then I was a little angry on the show because everything that could go wrong was going wrong. It was Randall. It cost me 96 big ones.
Yeah.
And then Huey, for like the fourth time, telling me that I look creepy in my Sasha Banks legit boss shirt, which I absolutely do not. Nothing wrong with a 51-year-old guy wearing gold lament. No,
I have one.
All right.
So I can't say it because if you're creepy, I'm not far away from it. You know what I mean? So I can't say that about you because I have that same gold lame.
I gotta see you. So I can judge
and I did cut a little
Probably
promo
creepy.
on the Foley family, the point where the kids were a little frightened.
Yeah, he started using his gavel on us.
Banging it on the on the chopping block. And it was just today, I swear to you, this is the truth, just today, that I heard feedback from WWE, and the word is Mr. McMahon loves Randall. Like, he thinks he's great television. He thinks Randall's great.
Dog won't stop pissing. It's great.
Do you know how rare it is? Like, Randall's captured,
right?
Like taking a dump on camera and looking at the camera and almost winking,
right,
before he took the the deuce. Yeah,
and Mr. McMahon's going like, "What do we got to do to get this dog on Raw?"
Yeah. He can be a special guest.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. So do you? How do you feel when? Or when you're worried about Noelle outdrawing you at a convention, how does that make you feel? Do you go like, this shouldn't be a concern of mine. This is the seed, the fruits of my loin should not be a concern.
You know what?
Or are you proud?
I'm not there yet. Honestly, I'm not there yet. Other people, are, right? I mean, when you were there at
what wrestlers were upset?
WrestleCon. Don't. Let's not name names.
Sam's trying to get me in trouble.
But there's only a certain amount of, guys, especially in a convention setting where there's so many people. There's
especially
only
one like that.
there.
I mean, you're talking about
100 guests. 150 guests. Sometimes even at a smaller convention, they're like, oh, it's packed 600-700 fans, and there's 120 guests. There's only so many people to go around, and you have your 3 or 4 big draws, and then 6 or 7 other people do well, and the rest of them, watch the clock go. And some of them are pretty big names. Noelle does well. So
She just gives that thumbs up.
I believe, just to play it safe, you
Yeah.
know, we're gonna be a duo. For
Yeah,
Right.
that's
a
my
while.
favorite.
Right.
I love doing it.
Yeah.
The autograph signings with him.
Yeah.
'Cause it's more fun.
Right, and it's Mick and Noelle. It's not just like,
yeah, we get to hang out together.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and you know, and this is
Do you-
it's crazy that when I needed to like consult with somebody, you
Yeah.
know, I was like, all right, who in the world can possibly know what I'm going through? And it's like, okay, who Nature Boy Ric Flair. So of all
Great
the
call.
possible allies, like I consult with Ric Flair, and then
Right.
and I told him
Rick
that
needs some parenting advice.
I told him that when Noelle and Charlotte finally met, that I saw a tweet that Charlotte said, "A woman, you know, like we need to meet up." And I said, "Well, what should Noelle do?" He goes, "I'll tell you what she needs to do. She needs to walk up to Charlotte and say, 'Woman, we needed to talk.'" And so later that day, Noelle walked up, right?
That's what you did?
Said,
Said, woman, we need to talk.
How'd that go over?
It went good. She
Good.
was really helpful and gave me a lot of great advice.
Yeah.
What I should and
Well-
shouldn't be doing.
And maybe the convention circuit will be a little easier for Noelle because you're legit training Noelle to be a wrestler now, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, is that another thing where, because that's what I was going to ask about the conventions. Like, how do you feel about the fan interaction that Noelle has? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of people. You can read the Instagram comments. And
Or you
not,
cannot,
not all,
Sam.
right.
No,
Not all of them are there for her
Look, you know what?
effervescent personality.
As soon as I clicked over from one story, it was a legit story, you know, and then I click over and I see this big thing that says 10 hot photos of Noelle Foley you have to see, and
Right.
half is in capital letters. Like, no, I don't
have
to
to.
see this.
So
Like,
you don't
I
follow
really-
her?
No, I'm not.
He doesn't even have Instagram.
Smart for you,
No.
Noelle.
There's a fake-o out there, though, of him.
Really?
And Huey,
Warning.
her younger brother's all over her case. Man,
Yeah,
all
He
there-
over.
doesn't like it?
He's constantly checking it, and
Mm-hmm.
I blocked him, so I don't even know how he's checking it.
So you can't use the F word against your sister, but you can block your brother on Instagram. Yeah,
Holy rules, yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? If there's going to be a convention, then there's going to be some. There's going to be some of the elder statesmen of the game who've been around with me are going to be watching her back, which is always
That's good.
always nice.
Yeah.
And she does tend to bring out the best in people when they meet her. So if people are going to be skeevers, they're probably going to be skeevy from afar. you
Right,
know?
right.
When they meet her, she kind of brings out the best in people. You know. What they do with those photos once they have them, I don't.
That's their business. Yeah. It's, that's a
not
conversation we don't need
speculating.
to have.
Yeah.
That's not admiration for me or my career.
Sam, it happens to you, too.
What do you? Oh, yeah, no, you're right. The Instagram comments are pretty much the same, especially when I'm doing those modeling shots. You know, they
especially when
just.
you're, like, posing with the hands
Yeah,
on the
my
hips.
dad goes, they shouldn't be talking to you. This not. They're objectifying you,
appropriate.
Sam. They're objectifying you. So what? Noelle, I'm assuming wrestling was your idea. Like
Oh,
you were like,
yeah.
I want to learn how to do this.
Yeah, like, I've been following it for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, wow. Like, I love watching it.
I
Why
tried
not
to talk
try
her
to
out
do
of it.
it?
You did.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
I thought just the way I walked would be the greatest warning symbol.
Yeah.
Just stay away. Don't
Right.
end up like this guy. And she didn't see it that way.
Right. So you're training her,
Yeah.
but are you training her to wrestle like you wrestle?
No, absolutely
yeah.
not. And I've got I've got a guy named Dan Barry doing most of the groundwork. You know, I'm in there with like all the suggestions, the ring psychology. I talk her ear off, not literally.
Maybe one day.
Right,
Then we'll
one day.
really be twins, Dad.
Yeah. Have you thought? I mean, this could be a great. If Noelle, if you chop your ear off and come out with some like flannel little like shorts, there it is. The Foley legacy lives
Cactus
on.
Jill.
Yeah, Cactus Jill is here.
That's what she wants. Like,
Really?
No,
No,
don't.
I don't want that. I just think it'd be funny.
Right.
Oh, here comes Cactus Jill or Dudette Love.
Right. You could say if you're gonna like Charlotte has her saying, if you're gonna do it with flair. If you're gonna do it with mankind.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with the sexual overtures. You know,
I don't know
like,
what's sexual about
That wasn't sexual.
No. So
Yeah.
what made you agree to train her to wrestle?
I guess just the idea if she's going to do it, I want to make sure so that she's safe. You know,
Yeah,
learns the
yeah.
fundamentals properly. You know, I can't be there for the entire ride, so you want to make sure she has the basics. You know, like if she's going to be a writer, this is me speaking
A
metaphorically. I want to make sure that she has
Worst
all the
writer of all
tools,
time.
right? You know, I'm not talking literally about being a writer, but like make sure she has a grasp of the alphabet, you know, sentence structure and all that, and then you go out there and you create your own paragraphs.
Right.
Right. And so I know that eventually, you know, she'll be out there on her own. So I want to make sure she's got the tools and knows how to keep herself safe, you know, and has respect for her opponent, and knows important things like, you know, how to say no, you know, to a move, like, and make sure that her opponent treats her respectfully. You know, there's some people out there who just don't care, and you need to be able to assert yourself.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that spot that went all over the internet, I think 2 weekends ago or something, where the kid, Joey Janela, put the guy up on his shoulders, jumped off the roof, and went through the table. Did you see that?
I didn't, but I've heard about it.
What do you think when you hear about stuff like that?
Ah, man, I know Joey, you know,
Yeah.
and it was Danzig, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Did I know that?
Zandig.
Zandig, yeah.
Yeah.
And I imagine they were in collusion on that. You know, I don't think that this was something. And they're consenting adults, right? I hope that other people don't try that out there. You know, I mean, you know, I just saw Necro Butcher retire. You know, and he was, you know, probably the craziest of all of them, and one of the nicest, humblest guys you can meet. And I said it was the greatest high spot ever called in the ring when, you know, you know, here's a guy who used thumbtacks and staple guns, barbed wire and fire, and yet he needed to be saved by a middle-aged man with a sweat sock. And I gave him a hug, and he goes, "Brother, should I ask my girlfriend to marry me?" I said, yeah. And so, you know, here's this guy who's been known for all this bloodshed, and his last moment as an active wrestler is he gets down on one knee and proposes to his wife, and people are in the ring crying. You
And
know?
she said yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
good.
said yes.
Okay,
Not just yes, but it's wrestling. Yes, yes, yes. So these guys are, you know, Joey Janela's, you know, a good guy. Well, they're both good guys.
Yeah.
You know, just a little crazy.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
Noelle, do you see stuff like that? Because it kind of goes back to like in acting. Maybe your dad was right that it is easier to go with a producer that goes like, well, I'm just hiring you because you're hot. Like you want to be like, yeah, because I want that job. Like in wrestling, there can be this thing where you're going to put yourself in danger because it becomes, at least, you know, especially when your dad was wrestling, it becomes like this fast track to attention and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, do you watch that stuff knowing I can't take that shortcut, or do you kind of want to?
No, I don't want to take the shortcut.
Right.
Like
You're saying the stuff I did in my career was a shortcut?
No, no, it was a different time.
You had your good looks, Dad.
Right. I noticed that today, because you have gone on record as being the man who has brought back the fanny pack. Your fanny pack looks to be especially Christmas themed today.
Yeah.
Is that? Am I misreading that at all?
No, you're not. First of all, I want to give the props to guys like Al Snow and Michael Hayes for whom
Did you
the
just
pack,
give props to Al Snow publicly?
What is going on?
I brought the pack back after a 10-year absence when
Excellent.
I realized that it wasn't actually going to ruin any of my looks. You know, it wasn't going to interfere with the sweatpants and flannel shirt. But for my birthday, Huey designed this nice Christmas-themed fanny pack.
It's pretty impressive.
And it says Santa here on the top, but what it might as well say is, "Don't mess with me."
That's
Or
right.
I'll F
Because if
you up.
you have enough confidence to wear a red fanny pack with cotton balls on it,
Right.
you're
Right.
obviously not one to be treated.
And it is.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not one to
he
be
wears-
messed with.
Fanny pack so often that I kind of want to get my own fanny pack.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's happening to me, but I just really kind of want my own fanny pack.
You see where it's very practical.
yeah,
very
like with something cute on it, like maybe like cats dancing or
Right.
lollipops or something. But
Something.
I really want a fanny pack.
I get that, and it's good too because it's red with green trim
Yeah.
and cotton balls stuck to it.
Yes.
And you come in here and you got the long hair,
Yeah.
the beard, the Cactus Jack red and black
Yeah.
flannel, the Kevin Owens
Right.
T-shirt,
Right.
ready for a fight, and then hey,
It works. Right.
guess what I have too?
Yeah.
A Christmas themed fanny pack.
It's a nice contrast. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that
Paradox.
it leaves it unpredictable.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't. But I knew I should be afraid of this guy, but now I don't even. I
Yeah,
don't know.
now I don't know what to
I better just keep my distance.
Yeah.
And that unpredictability is what worked for Johnny Rods.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
He was unpredictable Johnny Rods.
Right. And now I did want to ask you about your boyfriend, Frank the Clown.
Yes.
Because Frank the Clown, and a lot of people, I tell you, when they get to, like if they see Noelle and I in an Instagram or something together, they go, who's that? And I go, that's Noelle Foley. That's Mick Foley's daughter. And he goes, oh. And they start following her on Instagram, and they go, who's that guy she's with?
Yeah.
And it's Frank the Clown every time.
Right.
So, first of all, how did you start? Frank the Clown is a WWE superfan.
Yes.
That shows up and has been doing so for a long time.
For 8 years
8
now.
years in the front row in clown makeup.
Yep.
He's a wonderful guy. I've gotten to know him.
Yes.
How did you...
I wouldn't go so far as say wonder. He's a good guy.
Me and Sam think he's wonderful.
He's not full of wonder. He's a good guy.
Right. I don't know him as well as you do, Mick, so I may go to your judgment on that.
But I will say, I wouldn't have said good, 10 weeks ago. He's kind of winning me over.
You've been dating him for how long?
Over 2 years.
Right. You said 2 years.
Yeah.
You said 10 weeks ago?
I'm just warming up to him now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm finding out many layers of this Frank the Clown guy.
Which I guess is good?
Yeah.
How did you end up dating Frank the Clown, first of all?
Okay. Well, I saw him at SummerSlam, I think it was 3 years ago.
Found out that he had inherited millions of dollars?
No, that's not the case.
No.
How does he get in the front row of every show? What's he doing for cash?
He saves up his money. He sells old things on eBay, like old wrestling cards that go for a lot of money. Just, it adds up. Anyway,
Making his money off the back of the legends again. That's not right. Go on.
The broken
Anyway.
backs of legends, yeah.
I saw him walking, full clown, and I just stopped and stared, and something was different about him.
You know what bothers me about that?
What does?
Is that somehow this stems from me, right? This is a daddy issue.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't think
No,
that
it's not a daddy.
Oh,
it is,
yeah.
No,
yeah.
daddy
Oh,
issues are
yeah.
like strippers and girls
No,
that like
no.
drugs.
That's when you have a different daddy. When you have a daddy who's got a Christmas room, who loves balloon animals, who creates this world of wonder for
I did
you.
something somehow, somewhere along the way
Oh,
that
yeah.
made you feel like it was acceptable to date a clown.
Right. You had
Yes,
your
you
pick of the
did.
litter.
Yeah.
Well, because you're a teddy bear.
Oh, no.
So I can date a clown. If you're a teddy
Exactly.
bear.
Right.
Maybe I should have had more than 3 arguments with you.
Yeah.
And maybe one of them should have been about dating clowns.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway,
so
I
you
saw
meet this
him.
clown.
Well, no, I didn't meet him yet. I just saw him from far
Oh.
away and was pretty much checking him out. Like I was the
What?
creeper in this situation. I don't know. I just stopped and stared at him. I
She
was
was a
like,
stalker.
wow, he's different and weird, and I like that.
You do, because he's not a muscular guy either. He's just a skinny guy in clown makeup.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess his weirdness attracted me.
Right.
And so 2 or 3 weeks later, I saw him in the front row
Mm-hmm.
at Raw, and I tweeted him, and I was like,
Oh no.
now I know.
So you're
who-
pursuing Frank the Clown.
And here's
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Oh,
here's
it's
the
terrible.
line. You were working that wig.
That's what she said to him.
Yeah.
You were
gotta be
working
kidding
that
me.
wig.
How does this even happen?
If you're Frank the Clown, you have to be expecting Ashton Kutcher to come jumping out of a bush or something, right?
Absolutely.
You're working that wig.
I mean, for that, I think back now. I'm a married man now, so but I think back to when I was young. This doesn't happen. That stuff happens in movies. The nerdy guy does win.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in real life. You don't have a hot chick pursuing you while you're wearing clown makeup at a wrestling show.
Well, I feel 2.5 years ago, or it was actually 3 years ago when we started talking. I wasn't that cute.
You don't think so?
I was just starting to mature.
Oh, I see.
So maybe that was
I
it.
see.
No, well, you were always beautiful, even when you were 8 in your chubby stage.
In my obese
Yeah.
stage.
So-
even when she forgot her soccer shin guards, and I was trying to get her to wrap her younger brother's diapers around her legs.
I was forced to wear diapers and shin guards.
Crying. I don't want
You were still gorgeous. Yeah.
Painful memories.
Yeah.
Even when her smile looked, I guess, for 4 years in a row.
Oh, God.
Every year. Who were the twins that you had a chance to take? Mary Kate.
Oh,
and
Mary Kate and Ashley. I got a picture with them. And
With the Olsen twins?
And I scribbled my face out.
No!
Her face.
I was that
I know.
ugly.
Give me your most pained look. Every year, her
Okay.
school photo.
Did you get made fun of in school?
Maybe a couple chunky jokes.
Here and there. See, this is what's happening. Mick, sometimes Chunky Noelle,
Yeah,
that we all know and love.
yeah.
This Noelle doesn't really realize she's not Chunky Noelle anymore. She's got Chunky Noelle
You think
mentality.
she's settling?
Yes,
Chunky Noelle
Chunky Noelle dates Frank the Clown.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't found any other guy I
Have you
even
been looking?
liked.
What?
Like, I don't like really like guys all that much because I feel like it's the same
That's a whole
thing.
other conversation.
Like,
I've got
look,
a certain
like,
lady in
look at
mind.
me.
Do you?
Yeah.
I just
I can't
hate-
talk about it now, but I'm trying to.
Excuse me.
Trying to get her to switch teams, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love
He
that.
wants
You're
me
so
to be-
dis-
Have a relationship with someone. That's
Someone.
not Frank. That's not.
I love that.
It's not reveal. That's a big part of the show. Is my quest.
But you're so over Frank the Clown that you're like, yeah, I'm sure there's a nice
No,
lady.
I do like Frank.
My dad and my mom have always wanted me to be gay.
Is that right?
Always.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
What, so you didn't mind so much that she was chunky because you were like, that can work.
Well, Noelle, when she would have friends over, she always liked to lift up girls with dark hair. And we just
What do you mean, like, pick them up?
Yeah, she liked to physically lift them in the air.
Right.
Like even now, when she takes a photo with Frank, it's her physically lifting
Yeah.
Frank in the
Because
air.
he's my boyfriend. I didn't lift up girls and girls with dark hair.
Most girls don't lift their boyfriends up in the air.
No, he's right about that.
Yeah.
You are taking on the masculine position in that.
You
And
know.
so we just assumed
She takes pride in it.
that we just accepted that Noelle was going to, was and we
Lesbian,
were fine
yeah.
with that. Yeah, we're good because I was like, all right, I'm pretty good by guy standards. I'm a good guy, and I still suck, right?
Right.
So I would have been relieved to have had that.
You don't have to deal with the guys.
Yeah.
You love having female friends.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So you'll get along with any chick that she brings back
Yeah.
to the house.
If it wasn't for like my super heterosexuality and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 kids, I'd almost be like the gay friend. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I'm not. No question
Right.
about that.
Right.
Like 4 kids to show for.
Right. I mean, you are as strongly
Yeah.
heterosexual as a man could possibly be.
Yeah, but I'm sensitive. I have like all the qualities of a gay friend.
Right. So you
While
are
not being
quite
gay.
possibly the greatest man to ever exist.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I still suck.
Right.
Yeah, which is why I'd
Right.
be happy.
My dad is my gay best friend.
That's a whole other show that we're working on. I think that's on TLC or something. So do you continuously pursue him until it's like, hey, we're dating now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's disgusting.
But still, like, I feel like if I wasn't dating Frank, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be dating anyone.
Really?
Like, no one, like, catches my eye. Like, oh, sure, you can be attractive and muscular. That's great for you. But if you don't have a personality, why would I like
You
you?
dabbled with little crushes on wrestlers.
Can you tell me a wrestler you had a crush on?
Like Randy Orton when
Okay.
I was in high school.
Sure.
Yeah, I bet you did too, right?
I still have a crush on Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Smelled fruity, right?
Yeah. Okay.
He did?
Wait, hold on. Story time.
Tell me.
We were backstage probably like 5 years ago, and Randy Orton drops his shirt. And I'm like, Dad, Randy's dropped his shirt. And he calls back. He's like, Randy, you dropped your shirt. And Randy's like, oh, you can have it, like pointing to me. First thing I do,
What a
I
move.
do is smell the shirt
Of course you
Yeah.
do.
because that's me.
Of course
and
you
it
do.
was fruity.
Right. And so you got
Randy
excited by
Orton
that.
Smells fruity.
Yeah. That's you'd think like it would
Fruity
just
and delicious.
Yeah, I'll bet. So Randy Orton has to sit there, and Randy Orton is in his own relationship, and not that he was ever going to have a relationship with you, but on some level, Randy Orton, who's like a man amongst men, is like, wait, it was either me or Frank the Clown,
Yeah.
and
He lost out.
he lost out.
He lost.
And how is it for you, Mick? Like, as much as you love your fans, you love wrestling. Like, you don't want me in your house asking you wrestling questions
Not
all
at
day
all.
long.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
So when you know probably of Frank the Clown as this super fan.
Yeah, I've seen him.
So when your daughter's like, this is the guy I'm bringing home to the house, what are you thinking?
I hoped every night when I would go to sleep, I hoped that I would awake to find it was a bad dream.
You hated it.
And then I found myself at WrestleMania in front of 101,000 fans.
Yes.
Steve Austin.
I was
broke
one of 'em.
open, Yeah, the Stone Cold Beer. Shawn Michaels, has been sober for 12 years. Not much of a party. Only one guy's drinking the beer. So I took like 2 sips, handed the rest to Big E.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple sips, and I'm like, I'm gonna hand this to somebody, and I see Frank.
You didn't.
And as I'm handing the beer to Frank, I'm like, he's going to interpret this as a bonding moment. And he did, right?
I'm sure he must
Well,
have.
yeah. So you didn't mean it at all.
I don't
Oh,
know.
you don't want to have meant
Of course,
it.
he hands the beer to a guy that doesn't drink at
Doesn't
all
drink
and
at
who's
all.
straight edge.
Yeah, but
it was
still,
that.
he probably poured the beer out and he kept the
He
can.
kept it. He
I'll bet he
did.
did because, and it's on two levels, and this is what you have to deal with, Mick. It's
Yeah.
on two levels. It's like my girlfriend's father, who I've been fighting for her acceptance for so
Yeah.
long, finally accepts me. This is that moment. But then the other side is, dude, love just gave me a beer,
Right.
and like that's the side that you don't need around you all the time, right?
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Frank is very familiar with the voice work of Hans Conried,
Okay.
who was Captain Hook in Peter Pan.
I was gonna because I wasn't as familiar.
He watches Curb Your Enthusiasm. His favorite episode is the Crazy Eyes Killer one. Crazy Eyes Killer, right? And
You got a lot of Frank the Clown trivia in you.
and it turns out that he originally started painting up out of respect for the famous Indianapolis Clowns baseball team.
Huh.
So there's many layers.
There
to this
are, and
man.
you're enjoying learning them.
Many layers to this man. I also found out that he pitched a two-hitter as a high school baseball player.
Wow.
And didn't
Oh.
let that out until 3 years into the relationship. Most
I
guys
didn't even know that.
would
Yeah.
let the father know that on a first date within 5 minutes if he didn't want to brag.
Right.
And
Now,
he didn't even let it out. His father let it out.
did you, Noelle, talk to him about not being a wrestling fanboy around your dad, or did he have that instinct,
Oh,
or did he do it?
He knew right away to like
Just be chill.
never ask wrestling questions, and he really never has,
Yeah.
which is good because most people think, oh, he's a super fan. I bet like all he does is ask wrestling questions.
Do you have the barbed wire bat in the house? Frank the Clown and you guys are all going to be part. I feel like you have become as close to the Kardashian family as the WWE has, right? This is the Foley
Hopefully
family.
we'll be that rich soon. Probably never.
You don't think so? Is going to be part of a reality show.
Right.
Frank the Clown's obviously on it. That's why, and your brothers
Yes.
are a part of it.
And my mother.
And
my
your
sweet
mother.
Mother. My
The-
wife. My wife.
Your wife. Is the stuffed dog on it?
A little bit. Not so much the stuffed dog, but the real
The
dog.
real
And not
dog.
stuff. The dog is freeze-dried.
Oh,
Freeze.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Freeze
Still
dried.
has
Yes.
all her organs, which is really freaky because I never pet her. Like
Noelle freaked out when Juju was freeze-dried. The difference being, if a dog is stuffed, it's just the skin of the dog stretched around, a surface. Freeze drying is an 8-month process, and you get everything back except the eyes and the organs. Everything else is 100%
Intact.
and
intact.
You just stare at her, and you're just like waiting for her to like pounce or move or
And
Yeah.
wink
so
or
when
something.
when Juju came out of the box, Noelle was really freaked out. Like she was like almost crying. She's like, "I love Juju, but I'm not coming in your room." And so I occasionally will take Juju out.
and put Juju on his lap
Yeah.
and pet her like
Really?
she's a
Yeah.
real living dog.
Yeah.
Now, do you do this out of memory of the dog, or just because it's funny?
Because I like to remember the days when I had a dog who didn't bark incessantly and hump my forearm.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
Randall loves my dad's
You want some of
forearm.
this? You want some of that?
Like,
Like
ooh,
what?
look at that juicy
Oh, look at that.
forearm.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
go get
no
some
wonder
of
Vince loves this dog so much. Yeah, I was motivated by you because we have a Labradoodle, which is a giant, 50-pound, 60-pound
You
dog.
have a Labradoodle?
A Labradoodle. It's a big dog.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I was like, we're freeze drying Lila as soon as she's dead. Freeze
go.
drying. We're gonna have this
Yeah,
giant
Our
Lila.
dog
Yeah.
was named Delilah.
Yeah.
We named
Called
her
her Lila.
We named her. Yeah, that's right, Lila Garrity
Did
from.
we just become best friends?
What? We did. So, are you? What was the process like for you? Kind of. First, you had to let a wrestling fan in your house with Frank the Clown, and that ended up okay. Then, or is
It was,
okay?
it was a little tense because I have the year-round Christmas room, right?
Yes.
And Noelle, the Christmas room was originally for Dad, right?
Sure.
Dad's place. Noelle loves
It's
Christmas
close to a
room.
man cave,
Yeah,
as
it's
Mick
my
Foley's
man
going to get.
cave,
Yeah.
I don't need to be the alpha male guy because I have footage of me being thrown off a giant steel structure. Okay,
Right.
I'm cool
You're
with the
good.
Christmas room. Yeah, And Noelle gravitates towards the Christmas room. She'll even put on a special sweatshirt, which is great. But then when Frank comes over, they take over the Christmas room.
What?
And I just like, what I had a problem with is like, now they're snuggling on the couch in the Christmas room.
Well, there's a backstory. One, at the time you weren't home. And two,
That's even worse. You're necking on his Christmas couch.
and all the other TVs and couches were taken.
No, there's a green room.
Yeah, it was taken.
No, it wasn't. It just smells like urine because that's where
The dog.
Yeah, and it's like the biggest room in the house, but that's also where Randall sleeps, and it smells like pee. And so no one goes in there, and I'm like, oh, that room is wide open. Oh, it smells like pee. I'm like, that's why I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
I have a Christmas room. It's got photos. There's no wrestling photos of me anywhere in the house, right?
No.
Nowhere.
Right.
There are photos of me as the man in red, right? Like I like to be
Santa.
comforted. Yeah. Like to be comforted because up until I dropped like 68 big ones, right? Like recently.
Right.
You know,
You look
I
great,
had
by the way.
I was waiting for you to say that. I had trouble getting up and down stairs, right? A lot
Yeah,
of
now
pain.
he can run upstairs.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
Yeah,
the most
yeah.
incredible thing ever.
Yeah, it's been a startling metamorphosis.
That's
thanks to,
amazing. Is that a lot of DDP yoga?
Yeah, quite a bit of DDP yoga and pushing away the things in life that used to bring me joy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to eat well?
He's super
Yeah.
good with eating good. He eats salads. I ask him if he wants ice cream, and he's like, "No, I'm okay." I'm like,
okay.
"Who
What?
are you?"
Yeah, who is this man who's
That's
invaded your...
That's not hardcore.
Nah, it's not. It's not.
Hardcore vegetarian.
Yeah, but look, can you imagine me trying to stumble down that stage at Mania in front of 101,000 fans at 3:38?
You couldn't have done it.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it.
And you would have had
man.
to turn down being in front of 100,000 people
Yeah.
because you knew.
It would have been embarrassing.
Yeah. And
So-
that would have been crushing.
Yeah.
But instead, you have to
Yeah.
put the gear back on one more time and
one
like
more time.
have that
and-
You
moment.
were walking fast. You were keeping up with Stone. Cold
Barely,
and-
man. I was like talking to my legs, literally going, "Come on, don't film me now, don't film me now." And
Just this one walk.
just
All I need is
wanna-
one walk.
And then
Yeah.
you started twerking in the ring. How did that feel?
What was it like to twerk in front of 100,000
with
Yeah.
people?
Big E.
Yeah, with Big E, the king of male twerking.
I don't know. Man. It was just so phenomenal to be out there. I never thought I'd never seen 101,000 people in my active career.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I'd see it again, and so clandestinely, secretly.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it. I knew he was doing something, which I thought was like a backstage thing.
Sure.
And then I went to visit this girl.
So I
was
told her
talking to.
specifically, "Hey, after the New Day match, just stay tuned. 'Cause I'm doing like something backstage." And they went to visit a young lady in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Because I didn't remember anything he said about like stay there.
So
like,
they were on their
okay.
way up to the wheelchair section when all of a sudden, boom! Here comes the music. So they weren't even like sitting
So
down.
I heard his song come on. I'm like, what? And I was so excited.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It's-
and
it's pretty cool.
It was pretty magical.
Yeah, it
was,
had to be.
Honestly, a lot of my career, especially the early years, formative years, consisted of putting in a lot of work without getting a lot in return. And then here I was, getting a lot in return for very little work.
You finally got to reap the
Yeah.
benefit of all this sort
Yeah.
of, yeah.
And
Dad, I
so-
almost started crying. I was so happy.
Did you really?
Good to hear.
Yeah,
It's very
I was really
nice.
happy.
It was pretty sweet. And then when Steve's music hit, I just knew every eyeball in the place can be drawn there. And so no one going to be looking at me, I just looked around that vast stadium and I just took it all in. I was like, holy, and in my head I was cursing, right? I wouldn't
Good.
do it here. It was really phenomenal. It really was.
And it's even better that you got in shape because Shawn Michaels is in ridiculous shape.
He was,
Steve
yeah.
always looks like Steve. So
Yeah.
the fact that you came out and looked like
Okay,
old Mick,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like that was very so. But what I was getting at was now you've got cameras in your house.
Right.
You've got you're a reality show guy now.
Yeah.
How is that?
Yeah, we like it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's-
But,
like sometimes it gets a little much when there's like 20 people in the house, but I like to be doing stuff instead of just, let me sit on my couch and have nothing happening in my life.
Right.
We like it. I think we'll miss it when it's gone. I didn't think that the show was actually happening, so I kept all my weekend bookings. And so then all of a sudden one day, knock on the door, here comes the crew, and I'm like, I guess I don't have a day off for the next 57 days. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was going to British Columbia one weekend, Montana the next. So I I was pretty tired. It was like, it was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
But we've really enjoyed it, and we think it's going to be a very. We think our WWE fans are going to enjoy it, but we think that people who will gravitate and find the WWE Network and check it out will be like, this is a good show.
And they're really promoting it well.
Yeah, I cannot claim that this is one of those things that has been under promoted. They're doing a great job.
Speaking of under promoted, we talked about this a little bit over text, but how did you end up as the guy to interview Shane McMahon? Because Shane McMahon comes back to WWE, one interview. And I told you, I felt this before you even did the interview. He's doing one interview, and they're going, it's a tell-all interview, all your questions answered. Your host is Mick Foley. And I'm like, they're just putting everything on top of Mick.
Well, first of all, thank you for your messages to me afterwards. There's a guy who's interviewed very notable people. I appreciate it. That was a lot of pressure on me. Answer is Steve Austin had just had shoulder surgery, and when I asked him if he was okay with it, he said, hell yeah, kid. The last thing I want to do is be walking through an airport with shoulder surgery, go out there and have a hell of a show. Did I sound more like John Wayne or Steve Austin there?
I feel like they blend together anyway.
And I think Jericho was actively on the roster,
right?
And I think. Mr. McMahon, Kevin Dunn thought, I had some background as a journalist, when I was writing my books, and thought that I would, had the respect of the boys, and the respect of Shane, and we had the sell in common, and that,
right.
If Vince gets an idea in his head and has a gut feeling that I'd be a good guy to conduct the interview, he just sticks with it, and I think the reservations he had may have had, never proven. My theory about me, not being utilized because I looked awful on camera.
That's nonsense.
I think he was a little more comfortable. Not that the beard looks great on camera, but
the beard. I like the beard. I think the
too.
beard is more Mick Foley. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Sam.
Plus,
But I was very happy with it.
I
have not gone back and seen it. Fortunately, I have my son Huey to bring me right back down to earth. He goes, Dad, I read on the internet where you just talked all over Shane and wouldn't let him answer. And I was like, that's not. Usually, I'm like, well, buddy, people are allowed their own opinion. In that case, that's not true. No, I've heard people like I watch Hardball with Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
I know what it looks like when you don't.
Hey, can I tell you the truth? I would tell you, I'm biased, and I wouldn't even bring it up if I thought it was true. I went in thinking that you were going to do that.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think you did that at all.
I appreciate it.
But obviously, Huey read on the internet that you did, so
Huey buries my dad like crazy.
He does.
Buries the entire family.
He does.
Like me, like crazy. I'm like, excuse me, I'm a wonderful sister, but he makes me sound awful.
Right.
So don't listen to anything Huey has to say.
Ever.
I don't know what websites Huey is on that have me as the most hated man in wrestling, but I'm like this is not fair. Like there was no place that I could go to find out bad stuff about my dad.
Right.
Jack Foley, athleticdirector.com.
Right.
Leave a bad comment about Jack Foley. Like no, that's not true. Dad, why does everyone hate you? Like they don't hate me. I'd say by and large I am well liked in the internet community.
Yeah, I would say so.
No, not where I read. Stop reading that stuff, please.
He's like, no, I like it.
Don't tell me.
They're
That's the
obsessed
stuff I
with
like.
reading all comments, especially negative ones. Like, Noelle, did you see what this person had to say about you? I'm like, yeah, I saw it and I don't care.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid it. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I would appreciate it. My family. That's what my dad does. For some reason, my dad does the same thing. My dad will do searches on Twitter, just at notsam. Just search it, and he'll go, "I read the funniest thing about you. Did you see where they?" And I was like, "It's not funny, Dad. It's hurtful."
my
Yeah, and I don't want to
feelings,
live
okay,
in
Dad?
that.
But
But
you get a lot of bad stuff.
I do.
It's
But
usual.
that's
You
know,
do?
I do.
Like what?
I do.
Like,
Well,
what are the average comments, like bad comments?
well, the new
about-
ones are. He has not aged well, because everybody's seen me since you met me when I'm in my early 20s. I'm 32 now,
Okay.
and they're like, "No, he has not aged well." And I'm like, you know what? If a bunch of guys who listen to the radio don't find me attractive, I think I can maintain my day.
I think right now, if
Yeah.
you put your hands in your pockets and broke into bridge over troubled water.
Yeah, you see that? You see that?
Sail
Yeah.
on, silver girl. Garfunkel's the only guy I know who sings with his hands in his Hands in pockets.
The whole time.
I always thought, that's because when he needs to hit the high notes, he's right there.
Right.
Just a
Right.
little squeeze.
That's the secret. Holes in his pockets. Well, guys, on that note, I appreciate you both stopping by.
Yeah.
I'm very anxious to see how Holy Foley comes out. And I would imagine expectations are high because they're premiering this thing on the 21st of August, which is right after SummerSlam.
No pressure whatsoever.
The biggest show of the
none at
summer.
all.
No pressure. And I know, and to make things even happier is that our buddy Huey will be there, like on the Twitter video. Dad, look what they said about you.
But what is Huey going to do if Huey's on the show, which he is?
Yeah.
It is.
What if he reads a negative comment about him?
Well, they're
Mickey
okay
and
with it.
Huey get so many
They have
negative
a YouTube
comments,
channel where
and they
people get
embrace
trashed.
They
it.
like
They're like,
it.
Well, someone told me to kill myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't listen to that.
Unfortunately, they're so used to it, and they shouldn't be.
But it's
used
just
to
the
it.
world that
we're
they-
okay with it. We get it all the time, and I don't. When I was Santa's ambassador, on the Christmas show, December Raw, I want to sit back and really enjoy that moment with the family, and I made a mistake going on Twitter. And I'd been critical recently of Raw, and there were a bunch of people, bringing it up. They thought it was hypocritical for me to appear. Forgetting that I only wrote the pieces. I love the show and the company and wanted to see it
do well.
Yeah. And I was like, I will not give people the power to take away something that's, an important moment like that for me. So, Huey will be really helpful in pointing out all the flaws, all the bad comments.
On that note, I've wondered, was it difficult for you to get back into the kind of WWE fold, the WWE family, when you had been on your Facebook being very critical of a lot of the stuff that they did?
I was only occasionally critical,
Right.
I mean, I was usually very complimentary about different performers and different aspects, and there were only a couple times where I thought it was necessary. I would sit back and I wouldn't just. People would call them tirades or whatever. They weren't tirades. I'd wait, and they were well worded. And Steve Austin and I talked about it on the podcast, and he would say, you're doing it because you are concerned. And because you love the company, the thing
Right.
to do would be sit back and say nothing,
Right.
know. And I mean, there was another time when I showed up on Raw in October 2014. I had a really good segment with Dean Ambrose, and
Was that the Cell segment?
Yeah, and it was thought that I'd heat with the company then, and during a meeting, the writing team was wondering what they might be able to do to make that segment special, and Mr. McMahon said, well, how about bringing Mick Foley in? And they said, I thought he had heat with the company. Vince said, I don't give a damn if he has heat with the company. Can he make the segment better? Give him a call. And so he...
That's great.
He is. He's the best,
Right.
Like he deep down he respects, my opinion. He says he doesn't always agree with it. He respects that I have one, and
that you're still passionate about the product.
I'm still passionate about it.
Yeah.
And then once I've been back a couple days, it feels like home to me, and the talent that's there, they know that I care and that I watch it, and I love when the men or the women ask me to watch their matches. I was just at an independent show a couple days ago, and Noelle got the nicest message saying that I could have been done at 9 o'clock. I was done with my scheduled thing at 9 o'clock, and I stayed and I watched the whole show, and then I stayed and I talked with the guys in the car until 1 in the morning, and I remember sitting with Terry Funk and watching this unbelievable 6-man, and I was like, Terry, we need to go tell those guys how much we liked it. And it was this long flight of stairs, and neither Terry or I do very well with stairs, so we go stumbling, pulling ourselves up, and walk up in the room. And the guys, they were really overjoyed with their match. And I said, you see those stairs, guys? And they said, yeah. I said, do you know how hard it is for Terry and I to walk up the stairs? And they said, yeah. I said, do you know why we walked up those stairs? I said, no. I said, walked up those stairs to tell you had a hell of a match,
It's amazing.
So people know that I've got a passion for it, you
Yeah.
know, and that if I'm sometimes critical, it's because I want to see what's best for the company.
And what people don't realize is that one of the reasons you stayed until 1 o'clock in the morning is so you don't have to go home and deal with that dog. Guys, Thank you both for being here.
Thanks,
for
Sammy.
I'm
having
sure
us.
everybody's going to check out Holy Foley, and you can leave very positive comments
Positive only.
on Twitter at Real Mick Foley
Yeah.
and at Noelle Foley, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Noelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Sam.
of course, and we'll be back with more Sam Roberts Show right after this.
Yeah.